Hi, everybody. For the last episode of the Syllabus for Your Hero's Life series, I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to be the hero of your dreams. It, the entire goal is to have an integrated mind, integrated heart, and an integrated sense of self. All 10 of these tips are going to help you in the pursuit of that goal. So, very first tip is a belief audit. So, what is it that you are actually believing? What we believe influence all of our behaviors and all of the our perception of reality, because they are our beliefs. So basically, with this, you need to grab a notebook or whatever you can write with and write out all of the things that you are actively believing in. The things you believe about love, the things you believe about money, the things you believe about yourself, the things you believe about your friends, your loved ones, everything. Every single thing that you consciously believe in. And start to see where things are incongruent, where things are outdated, or where things are conflicting with what you want to believe. And you can start to question these beliefs by seeing them all laid out. By seeing them physically on paper, you are able to take a lot of the power away from some of the beliefs that you're believing in, because they feel so big and stronger when they're just floating around in your mind. So the belief audit is just going through and assessing everything that you believe, and figuring out which beliefs are preventing you from being the hero you want to be, and those ones that are things you no longer want to believe in. It allows you to triage and prioritize how you're going to unwire those, and the unwiring of beliefs you no longer want to believe in is a whole other topic. But for being able to focus your energy, doing an audit on your beliefs is very, very beneficial. So the next tip is active imagination. Now, this is a method that allows, it's a method created by Jung, and you can do active imagination for a bunch of different things, but in this concept, we are going to be doing active imagination to basically do step one, but for our subconscious, our unconscious mind. So to do active imagination, you close your eyes, or you do whatever form of visualization that you can engage in, whether it's visual or auditory or whatever the method is that you can do. And you just basically let go of the conscious mind and sink into that, and allow the subconscious and unconscious to come to the surface. And after you sit and you're doing that, then take note of all the things that come up. And when you do that long enough, you then are going to be able to do a belief audit for the subconscious and unconscious, and see where they are situated and where they are coming from within your psyche. And when you have both what the conscious mind you believes and the unconscious mind you believes, that gives you the tools to know where the roadblocks actually are, rather than just guessing. Now, what do you do with that information? Step 3, you get into therapy. Having a third-party person who is skilled in witnessing you where you are at is vital. Having a third party able to help you just reflect where you are at and where you want to be, and it's extremely helpful. So the third step is therapy. We live in a society that already talks a lot about therapy, so you likely already know what it is, but I would just recommend getting a therapist that is reasonably priced and does a method that you resonate with. That will help make the first 2 steps actually start to create a forward progression towards being your hero self. So, next tip, we are doing internalized role models. So, we are constantly absorbing the people that we surround ourselves with and we are constantly internalizing the figures in media that we surround ourselves with. So this is taking that fact and using it for our own benefit. So in your friend group, in your social group, who are the people that you want to be like? How can you spend more time with that person to subconsciously start to be more like them? And the same goes for the media you consume. What people in the media that you watch do you want to be like? And what media can you start taking in to inundate yourself with that personality type, rather than just taking in all media and taking in all things. The scrolling mindset of seeing everything and being everything leaves you less likely to be who you want to be. So, next tip, we are going to talk about the Omnitrix effect. If you've ever seen Ben 10, the Omnitrix is an amazing tool that lets Ben change into different aliens. You have the same exact ability to shift your identity. And the reason that this is important is for all the creatives out there, all of the entrepreneurs out there who have imposter syndrome. You have likely heard fake it till you make it. And fake it till you make it is not beneficial for long-term self-development, because you are trying to get to a point of authenticity through inauthenticity. With the Omnitrix effect, you actively cultivate the aspect of yourself. You create a role within yourself and step into that role to then go into that boardroom, go into that meeting, do whatever it is that you're going to do. And it's a real part of yourself, so you're not lying to yourself. And that sense of self, that strength of self, that belief in self comes back to you instead of you going into it faking it. So an example is, I'm a ghostwriter, and when I'm reaching out to clients, I go by my full name, Alexander. That my full name gives me a tiny boost of confidence, and I also don't have to be like Alex, the name like my dad calls me and my partner calls me. And when I'm Alexander, I can do A, B, and C. I can do these things when I'm Alex as well, but it gives yourself, by creating a slight alter ego that's still your true self, it allows you permission to integrate aspects of that golden shadow self, that you like, the aspects of yourself that you're not consciously utilizing that are still in you. I hope that all makes sense. Basically, utilize your name and create a couple different identities with your name to then not be paralyzed by imposter syndrome. So, next, we are going to be giving the observer within ourselves a sense of humor. So, the concept that trauma plus time equals comedy, it is awesome, and it is very, very true. Basically, the goal is, it is very possible to live in the now moment with the benefits of hindsight and comedy, all while still in the moment. Why? Because the observer within us, the spirit, the bigger self in us, is not bound by time. They are able to see what is happening and experience what is happening, and also experience everything else that is beyond time. And if you're able to practice being in the observer with observer meditations, basically, if you followed through this syllabus so far, you've strengthened your observer, and now it's time to give that observer a sense of comedy. So when you are waiting in line, it is not a torturous event, but a comedic event, as if you were watching it in a movie. The next step, seeing the face of God in strangers. So, socializing with strangers can help you better connect with the life force energy of the world. So if you're somebody who struggles with social anxiety, remember that every single person is spiritual energy. Every single person is the face of God walking around in a drag costume, and that allows you to treat these stressful, high energy, nervous moments as spiritual practices of presence. What that does for you is it allows you to, when you are face to face with God, which you often are, it is a great moment. But when you are face to face with God and you are in recognition of that, it gives you so much, it brings so much levity that all these other things, the trying to understand your mind, trying to understand your triggers, when you are able to see God in your day-to-day life, all these other things feel much easier. So this is a practice beside your morning sadhana and your daily practices. This simple practice is something that you can do to enhance the cross sections and interactions that you are having with God on a regular basis, so that there is a more levity to life. Next, mythification. Turning your lived experiences into a story so that you are able to process them now rather than later. So, this is basically a fancy way to say journal. Journal as much as you can, and if it is hard for you to journal in the first person, go into that observer space and journal from a third person perspective. Rather than writing, I did this and I felt that, you can write, Alex did this and Alex thought this. If it's hard for you to get into that purely vulnerable place, try writing from the observer space and see if that step back helps you in that vulnerable space. The reason mythification, journaling, and turning day-to-day events into full-on stories helps is because it allows us to speed up the rate of processing our day-to-day lives, and it frees up a lot of mental space. Why do we want freed up mental space? Because all these other steps are taking up a lot of mental space. So if we can free up more mental space, we have more space. So next is have a creative output. Whatever creativity you have, whether it's knitting, drawing, movie making, whatever it is, use that as a place of just pure play without any expectations. Especially if you're a person who creates for your job, you need a form of your creation where there is no deadlines, where there's purely just expression. Why? Because you need to be in the flow state as often as you possibly can, because the flow state allows us to be in blissful peace. And bliss and peace are both super essential for all the before steps. Bliss gives us the momentum and the motivation and the drive to do all the things in life. And the peace is necessary because if life starts to feel too hard, we turn inwards, and that strengthens our inward-looking focus, and it makes it much harder to process all the things that we are trying to do. A hero that is stuck looking in the mirror is not going to be able to save the day at all. So, and the very, very last tip from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is don't panic, because everything is awesome and much better when you don't panic. A little trite, a little wry, but it is very true. I hope these 10 tips help you be the hero that I know you can be. With that, I love you. Stay awesome. You got this.